And let's talk about life for Lori Vallow-Daybell behind bars, in jail, out in Rexburg. Much different than hanging on the beach with a bag of money and her new husband, Chad.
Right, and a glamour shots photographer to capture your beautiful wedding, childless wedding, right? Things are very, very different, Vinny. You mentioned it right off the top of the show. She's turning 47, and her birthday is Friday. But don't expect that there's going to be any celebration. You probably saw things on Orange is the New Black. It's not quite like that. She's not allowed any special visitors. She's not allowed any packages. I actually spoke with some of the jail officials about what her life is day to day in the Madison County lockup, where again, she's just being held on the child abandonment charges for now, right? Because there are investigations going on all around the country at this point with regard to murder, not only those two children, but also in Chandler, Arizona, where her brother was mysteriously shot dead. That's an open murder investigation too. So let me tell you a couple of things that the Madison County officials, let me in on in terms of her day to day. So we wonder about the visitors and packages and what's going to happen on the birthday because she has no kids to come and visit her now. They're dead. One of her kids is, I don't even believe, on speaking terms with her anymore. Her brother is dead. Her sister and mother have put out a statement saying, boy, were they wrong. So who knows if they would want to visit or send any care packages, which she can't receive anyway. And her husband is also locked up in another facility. So he won't be visiting. And it's COVID, so there's no visits anyway. I'll get into that in a moment. But I do want to let you know, if you think she's some high-profile Casey Anthony-like person who has to be locked up 23 hours a day by herself for her own safety, think again. She is not. She is in general population. She doesn't have a roommate. And from what I understand, she doesn't have a bunk, sort of a dorm bunk. She does have a room, a cell, but she doesn't have a cellmate. But she's free to wander throughout the general population and the pod throughout the day. So that's a little different than what we expected. And just because I know you love Vinny talking about Casey Anthony, I thought it was actually a really good time to bring up Casey Anthony and how she behaved in jail, because she also had a missing child who was not charged with murder, and everybody wanted to know where Kaylee was. And she got on those, jailhouse visitation phones, which maybe she knew or maybe she didn't know were recorded, and it didn't do her any favors when her mom and dad came to visit her, desperate for any information about little Kaylee. And over that recorded phone, which all of us are privy to because we pay for those jails, this is how Casey behaved.
Then again, I want to bring up this thing about you being the boss. You're the one that can control everything. You're the one.
No,
that can make the
Dad,
decision.
please.
Sweetie, okay,
I'm
sweetie.
completely.
I'm not trying to get you upset. I'm trying to
No,
talk to
but
you.
I am upset now. I'm
Please.
completely upset. One, the media's gonna have a freaking field day with this.
No,
I wasn't even
Listen.
supposed to take this.
Listen,
Let me speak for a second, Dad.
they're
I
not
let
releasing
everybody
this
talk.
Okay.
They're not releasing it. Well, I hope not. I'll keep saying whatever I have to about the police,
here's
so
Mom.
they
Hold
don't
on
let
one
it go.
second.
Can someone let me? Come on.
Casey, hold on, sweetheart. Settle down, baby.
Nobody's letting me speak. You want me to talk? Then
All right,
give me
I'll listen to
3
you.
seconds to see
Go,
something.
sweetheart.
I'm not in control over any of this because I don't know what the hell's going on. I don't know what's going on. My entire life has been taken from me. That's really, really sad that I literally have nothing right now.
Well,
Nothing.
none of us have anything right now, Casey.
You guys have each other. You're sitting next to Dad. You still have Lee. You have access to our community, to our family and friends, to our house. You're taking for granted the fact that I have no one to comfort me but myself.
Oh, gosh, it almost makes you feel sorry for her. But Vinny, I know you. I don't think you were ever sorry for Casey Anthony. And certainly today, I'm sorry to bring it up because I know you don't even like it. Look at your face. Look at you. No, not at all. Well, listen, Lori is not like that. She's not in seg. She's not in segregation. She's out there with the general pop.
Do we know I wonder if she's trying to spread the word, She had the podcast and Chad, they're, trying to tell the other inmates about what's going to happen July 22nd.
Right, which is just, a little over 3 weeks away.
We're all getting out of here.
Are you? You're making plans?
We're all getting out of here, girls.
Up?
Come on.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm still investing and, standard operating procedure here in the Banfield house. But listen, I think you bring up a really good point, my friend, because I told you that she's in General Pop and the pod has a recreation room. And in that recreation room are phones and a television and chairs and tables for the other inmates that she's rooming with to be able to, sit down and chit chat. So if she wants to proselytize her unusual religion, the one that she's been plying with Chad, whatever. What she should be very careful is that the walls have ears when you're in a jail. Other inmates listen, other inmates leverage. They use whatever information they can get to do the jailhouse snitch and hopefully, minimize their sentences when it comes time to that. So she's got to be pretty careful about the things she says. And I'll tell you why in a minute. But first, I just also want to let you know that pod she's in also has a shower, and she can access a shower at any time. Anytime. There's no like 1 shower a week or 2 showers a week. They can access the shower in that pod anytime they want. She also is allowed to have 1 hour of exercise per day. Now back to the walls having ears. All I keep thinking about is people who are facing a lot of music and aren't talking. It reminded me of Chris Watt in Colorado, that fella who said his wife and children were missing, did interviews. All the while, he had murdered them. He had murdered Shanann. He had murdered Cece and Bella, his 2 little girls. He'd thrown them in oil tanks. But when he was brought in for questioning, just questioning, he wasn't under arrest. Nobody knew anything. He was sitting with his dad in an interrogation room. And at times there were officers, detectives who were in that interrogation room. And he started to spin the yarn about killing Shanann because she killed the kids. A lie. But here's how it went down with cameras and audio recording.
I didn't know what to do. Like, none of this made sense. Why would she hit my girls?
Are they under the ground? Like, how would you find them? You take us out there?
I mean, I will if you want me to. I don't want to go. Just please don't think anything less than me. Tell him about that.
Are they all 3 out there, Chris?
Yes.
Okay.
I put my hands around my wife's neck and did that same thing.
Did Shanann fight back at all?
The rage that I had after seeing that, not much.
So where did you put them out there, Chris? That's really important.
I didn't know what else to do. I was so scared. Just horrible. The problem is I don't even know if they believe me or not.
Are they in the tanks? Can somebody who doesn't know what they're doing open those?
What's in the tanks?
It's a mixture of oil and water.
Did she put up a fight?
I lost it so much that it didn't feel like she did.
Okay. Was she yelling? Was she screaming? Was she talking? Was she scratching you? Nothing?
I just felt such anger that nothing, I didn't feel anything.
Okay.
Liar, 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 liar. I can't say it enough. I get so angry. I was looking at that tape all day today and I just needed a shower. We all know, what happened. We have the tapes to prove it. And the guy's rotting for the rest of his life in a jail. And thank God for that. Right, Vinny?
Well, another common denominator. I mean, his concern was, you're not going to think less of me, right? Concerned about himself, just like Casey Anthony concerned about herself. And to me, that's a very common denominator between the two. That and, of course, all the lies.
So let's go back to Lori, since we're talking about people we love to talk about, right? Lori, again, in the Madison County lockup. In the rec room, I didn't mention one more thing. There's one more little toy she has access to, and this is actually really different than what I'm used to reporting on. She has a tablet. There's a number of tablets in the rec room in Lori's pod, and the tablets are for doing Zoom-like visits because they can't have visitors in the COVID era. So all the visitation is now just like you and I are doing, sort of Skypey and through video. And there's no limitation to when she can have a visit. She can visit anytime she wants with somebody Zoomy-wise, right? Only they're not using Zoom and they're not using Skype. They're using something called, and this was new to me, Telmate. Tellmate. Apparently, it's something that is, according to the Madison County officials I spoke with, designed for inmate visitation so that they can have these kinds of probably well-protected conversations, but also recorded, right? Because even though they're doing this electronic visitation, it's the same as any other visitation. They're recorded. That's why we have all these amazing tapes, Casey Anthony and everybody else that we tend to hear in court later on, what they say to friends and family and those who listen. The only thing is, you can't record a conversation with a clergy member. You can't obviously record conversation that an inmate has with counsel. That's for obvious reasons. But it also got me thinking, Vinnie Politan, about the last time I heard such a special jailhouse conversation. It was our good old friend Robert Durst having a nice conversation with his wife. And I think he was making a reference to, I don't know, getting rid of his brother in the same way they got rid of their dog Igor. At least that's certainly what it sounded like. Have a listen.
From way back when, I was planning on Igoring DM.
Yes, I know.
So that was a good time getting married. Because I was afraid that what happened to me just now, would happen back then.
Can I ask you, now that you brought that up, don't you think he knew how you felt?
I don't think he knew what I, Igor.
Yeah, I think he did, because I knew. So I think...
Oh, no, he don't know me like that. Maybe now he suspects that maybe or something. I don't know. This is just so... I suspect he doesn't even suspect now.
Oh, it's so fun going through these tapes and seeing what they say when maybe they don't think anyone's listening or they forget. But it's important that this Tellmate system, Vinny, is understood, because I think it's either Tellmate or a system like it has caused some problems for inmates in the past who say, get me out of here. COVID isn't right. I can't have a conversation with my lawyer because I think these electronics are listening to me.
Yeah, it's a difficult situation. We saw it already happened in Lori Vallow's case. So, but
R. Kelly too.
It actually gives them more access to people on the outside, because now they can see them and talk to them. So I guess in some ways it's humane for the inmates, but Big Brother.
No restrictions, but I will
thing.
tell you, they do have to be approved. Like, she can call out anytime. Lori Vallow, if she wants to make a zoom out anytime, she can do that. But anybody who's zooming in, I should say tellmating in, has to be approved and it has to be scheduled. A couple of other things I just want to tell you real quickly, because I know people are really curious about how this woman is living, especially with the red lipstick. We're all wondering, how she get the red lipstick. We know this. She gets 3 meals a day, and her standard calorie intake is that of every other inmate, which is 2,500. That ain't bad. Her classification is, it's her risk assessment. It's right in the middle of the road. No problems there. She has never been on suicide watch, Vinny. That's what stuck out to me the most in this. She's got 2 dead kids rotting in the ground for the better part of a year. Never on suicide watch. No statement about how sad she was. No indication of anything. She does have access to mental health facilities and mental health assistance, because obviously of HIPAA rules, they would not tell me if she had availed herself of that. But I think her lawyer is going to be very busy. I think she's going to be doing Tellmate with her lawyer a lot, not just on what's going on in Idaho, but also what's going on in Arizona.
Yeah, absolutely. And it doesn't surprise me, though. She seemed very disinterested in her children from the moment they went missing. Ashley, thank you so much.
Sure.
Fascinating stuff to get a sneak peek at Lori Vallow, who will now be 47 on Friday.